Hi, what's up, guys? Let's continue with the tutorial. So, today is very special because I'm going to really focus on one of my favorite softwares, which is Patran Nastran. Okay, so for now, what you would do first is to create the file. So, by doing that, you can click here and create the file. Okay, so you will give a name to your file. Let's say uh, Patron Nastran project. So you can see that I put underscore here. This is very important. When you make space like this, it will be very it will cause some errors in the time of simulations, right? When you run your simulation, you have errors on the result. You won't have result, even if everything that you do is correct. Why? Because you have some space. So what you do is to put an underscore. Underscores are very requested by the Patron Nostrum softwares if you want it to work, okay? And also where you save your file, save it in a correct file, which is adequate, for your, for example, here, YouTube. So YouTube, you can see the name doesn't have accent or space, so you can save your file here. But when you have accent or space or all the stuff, you will have errors as well. So be careful. So if you guys have questions about this, make comments. I will answer the questions. So let's hit OK. So now we have a blue window, and at the right we have here analysis types. So it's structural, thermal, and other stuffs, non-linear. So for now, let's keep with the structural. That's what we are going to focus for. Firstly, so we can go to the other ones a little bit later in the next coming episode, right? So today we are going in this episode, in this video, I'm not going to really do much. I will just show you the windows, and in the next one, I'm going to do examples and all the stuff that I'm going to explain you here. So you hit OK here because you are fine with the structural types. Okay, so we can see we have different windows here. First, let's go to geometry. So geometry, as you guys guess, this is where you create your geometry. So sometimes the geometry is simple, so you can create it here. Sometimes it's complex. You can also create it here, but if you want to go faster, especially when you are a designer, you can go on the design 3D design softwares, for example, Katia, SolidWorks, or other softwares. So that's very requested when you want to go faster. Okay, so the way you do when you already have your parts, you can come here, File, and then go Import, and then you import your geometry. You click here, so you change here the type of source. You can go Katia. If you have cut part file, you can go EGS or step file. This is what a lot of people uses, the step. Okay, so let's cancel because I don't want to do that for now. Maybe later I will show you. Okay, then you have the meshing. So the meshing, this is a very important step in finite element analysis, because on the meshing, that's where you discretize your part. The way you tell your software that you have this kind of mesh, which is very related to the type of geometry that you have. You have a lot of different meshes here. So, but first of all, you have mesh seed. Mesh seed, that's where you define the number of elements that you want, and then after you do a mesh, that's where you are going to really mesh your structure. You can have surface or solid or other stuff. Okay, but I'm going to go on details in the next coming episode. So then I will show you, and I will even mesh a real part. So you will see you have the element shape. You can have quad or tria. So quad, that this is very related to the 2D parts or other stuff, and the tria is when you have some complex geometries and stuff. So I'm going to show you all of this. You have quad 4, quad 5. So these really depends of the type of analysis you have, and not really the type of analysis, of course, but it's really the geometry that really matters in this. So the type, you can have surface, solid, or stuff. Okay, and then you have loads. Load is Also very important step because that's where you are going to define the forces and the boundary conditions. So the loads represent the forces, all the stuff, and the boundary conditions are type of constraints. So we have displacement. That's what we use to represent the boundary conditions, the degree of freedom. Okay, and then you can change this and go to force. In force, that's where we define the amount of force. So I'm going to show you guys, don't worry, I'm going to show you the way you do all these stuffs. And then you have different things here. You have thermal, inertial load for the gravity, pressure, all the stuff. But I think firstly, we are going to really focus on displacement and force because these are the two ones that are very important at the beginning. Okay. And after we have materials. Materials, that's where you define the type of material you want to use. You have isotropic material, you also have composite material, etc. So we can go here, object. You have isotropic and cohesive, composite, and even fluid. Fluid can be water, can be air, all the stuff. But for now, we are going to really focus on isotropic and then composite. Okay. But yeah, isotopic, you have steel, you have aluminum, but all these we are going to create. This is not like the other software that you can have this type of material already there, but you are going to define them here. Input properties, you put all the stuff like elastic modulus, Poisson ratio, all the stuff. We are going to define them ourselves. Okay, it's not very difficult. I will just show you how we do it, right? So then you have properties. What is properties? Properties, that's where you assign your material because make no mistake, on materials, you only define the material, the type of material. But on properties, that's where you assign this material you created on your part. That's why here we have the object. You can have 1D, 2D, 3D, depends on what you have. And then here you will select the geometry here. You will just click it and then you will have your material selected for the properties that you assign. So now you can have the shell, sorry, all the stuff the way you want, man. So yeah, and then you have load cases. Load cases, sometimes you need it, sometimes not. When you need it when you have different types of analysis you want to make. For example, you have the same things, but you want to make a study on the different meshes or different load. So you are going to make load cases in order to compare your results depending on what you want. Okay, I'm going to make a lot of different examples, guys, for all these type of things. So you have fields that where you define the functions, tabular input when you want make some small steps for your forces that you want to apply. But the PCL function is very important. I'm going to show you. Sometimes you have it spatial, non-spatial, all the stuff. I'm going to show you all this kind of stuff. So then analysis. Monitor point is not very important for now for me to show you, but let's go on analysis. Analysis, that's where you define the type of analysis you want. Here, solution type, you can make linear static, nonlinear, normal modes for the normal modes for the frequency. Buckling, frequency response when you really apply a force and you see the way your material behave. Transient response, very important, nonlinear transient, etc. So we are going to do all of these, but I think we are going to go for the basic one, the linear static, and then maybe normal mode, then buckling, and all the stuff. Even nonlinear static, very important. But I think it's more important to understand the linear static first, and then we go to the other ones. But guys, I'm going to really show you what you request from my videos. Make a comment if you want to specifically you want something specifically for me to do, I will. I'm here for you guys. I will make this video depending on the needs of my viewers. So on results, that's where you will watch your results. Analysis, you make the simulation run, and then on results, you will have it. So for now, that's it. And the next coming videos, I'm going to make some example and show you how this software really works and the other stuff as well. Peace.